bought your first property at 18 years old. You bought your second property at 21?
20.
20? You're on track for 5 by 25. What are people not, understanding about purchasing their first property?
Yeah. I turned 18 and, figured out what my borrowing capacity was, and I was like, oh my God, I can borrow all this amount of money.
But if you have 5 properties by 25, you're holding 30 years, we're talking about an 8-figure exit. What was your plan to kind of get in front of as many people as possible, build a brand? Because you've been relentless at that, and it's been very successful in a short period of time.
Was I absolutely scared? Yes. But I just posted that first video and then I said to myself, okay, one every day, one post every day.
Most people talk about affordability issues. Most people, are very negative around getting into the market, how difficult it is. I'd love to hear how you did it and what you did differently to be able to get ahead when most can't seem to start as young as you.
100%.
Welcome to this week's edition of Beyond the Numbers with Christian Stevens. My guest today is none other than Sinead Grant. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
So for anyone listening, used to be still are, I guess, my client.
Still am your client.
And then you reached out to me, 3 or 4 months ago about becoming a broker. But that aside, I think for most people who know you, the interesting part is you bought your first property at 18 years old. You bought your second property at 21?
20.
20? You're on track for 5 by 25. That really bucks the trend. Most people talk about affordability issues. Most people, are very negative around getting into the market, how difficult it is. I'd love to hear how you did it and what you did differently to be able to get ahead when most can't seem to start as young as you.
100%. And it's a testament to my upbringing, my parents, to the people that I've always had around me. I've always had a goal, and I've always had a goal to buy my first property at 18. I sat there and I watched my parents purchase property through you as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously that was when I reached out to you when I turned 18 and, figured out what my borrowing capacity was. And I was like, oh my God, I can borrow all this amount of money. And it felt surreal because, I'd been working since I was 12 years old. So started working at 12.
What were you doing at 12? What have you done prior to being at Flint?
Yeah, 100%. So I started work at 12 by choice. In a cafe. So I started as just a waiter, obviously, waitress. And then I worked my way up and then I ended up being a supervisor in that cafe. I worked there for 4 years and I got a couple of my friends some jobs and trained them up and got that pay rise and, I was getting cash under the table as well. It was awesome. And I learnt the value of $1 from extremely young, and my parents sat there and they said, okay, if you're going to put the money in the bank account here, this is where you'll see it here. And I think that's a massive reason why I was able to purchase my first at 18. I managed to save up a lot of money for a deposit, and it felt like a lot back then. It was about 40 grand, I'll be honest. I saved 40 grand.
That's a lot of money. I certainly didn't have 40 grand at 18 years old, and I don't know many people who have done that themselves. So testament to you. And look, I know you're a hustler.
Yeah.
You work really hard. Just before you got on, I said, how was your holidays? What did you do? And you said worked.
Yep.
So, what's really exciting for me is having someone who is a self-starter, self-motivated. My job is to clear the way to let you shine, not get in the way. Mm-hmm. And I've really enjoyed watching you take an opportunity and make it your own. It's been really exciting. You've only been here for literally 12 weeks and I can't imagine the business without you. Unpack the strategy a little bit more in terms of, I don't have to say numbers or anything, but buying your first property and what you did differently. Because I think a lot of people, when they think of purchasing a property, they want to buy, a beautiful home in the area that their parents live in. And firstly, that's just completely unrealistic. And I'd love you to I guess, give some genuine feedback as to how you did it and what your strategy is.
100%. So rent investing, it's a term that everyone says at the moment. And it is real, it is here, and it is a thing. And if my generation can't see that, I think that there's something for me to do. Yep. And that's the ability that I'll have to educate people and show, okay, this is how I've looked at it, because I can't afford to purchase in Sydney, in Miranda, in Cronulla, in the city. I can't afford that. No one can. I don't know anyone my age that could. So I just looked at it in a way of, okay, how am I going to break that cycle? How am I going to be able to get into the property market? I've seen what it's done for my parents. I've seen what it's done for my parents' friends. And yeah, break the cycle. How can I get my foot in the market? How can I get my foot in the door? And the way that I managed to do that was through rent vesting. And I did my research, and I've got a couple of good friends around the country where I reached out and I said, okay, I want to do this. I want to get X, Y, and Z. And then I've bought that first property. I've seen how well it's performed, and then I've gone and gotten the second.
Yep.
So
the interesting thing about being as young as you are, which I think is an advantage, is that if you hold these properties for 30 years, they're worth multiple millions of dollars if you do nothing with them ever again. So
that's the goal.
It's time in the market, not time in the market. You've probably heard that before. And no better example of that. If you have 5 properties by 25, you hold them 30 years, we're talking about an 8-figure exit. And what lessons have you learned, I guess, buying those properties? Obviously, saving for the deposit for the first property is without a doubt the hardest thing, in my opinion. What did you do to do that outside of living at home with your parents, obviously, and being a teenager? But what strategies did you apply to be able to save money, or habits you got into to save you money? Because a lot of people find that really difficult.
Yep. And in my opinion, it's all about habits. And I started them young. And again, I'll say it again, I was super lucky to start it young. I'm super lucky to still be living at home.
Yep.
And to everyone out there that still is living at home, milk it as much as you can. And the habits, it was basically like, okay, what's the value of $1? The value of $1 is what everyone sees it differently, right? So my value of $1 might be different to your value of $1. But my parents and myself and research, and I sat down and I understood that. And then once I was able to learn to save my first $500 and I saved my first $1,000, and I kind of broke it down into little amounts, saving per week, putting the money aside. Obviously, I made a lot of sacrifices. Like, I didn't go out and do all that at the age that I was.
Yep.
And I think that's an amazing opportunity that I had, that I was able to live at home and I was able to save that money and I was able to, make that sacrifice now for the gain later. So,
but you've also enjoyed life. And I think
100%.
What you do well is, you still go out and have fun, drinks with the girls, or you still enjoy yourself on the weekend with your boyfriend and whatnot. But one doesn't have to come at the expense of the other. You can still have a great life and save doing both.
Yep.
Talk me through your social strategy. So obviously coming into broking, there's 22,000 brokers out there. You are young, you are inexperienced when you started, not now, but just talking as though I don't know you, inexperienced. What was your plan to kind of get in front of as many people as possible, build a brand, because you've been relentless at that and it's been very successful in a short period of time?
Yep. And that's a testament to yourself. It's a testament to Redem. It's a testament to the people that I have around me. And I've surrounded myself with people who are doing what I want to do. And I've then sat down and we had that session with Robbo, and I spoke to Robbo, and then he gave me a different outlook, and everyone gives me an outlook on something. And then I sort of took it into my own. And I said, okay, if I'm going to make this work, I'm going to have to get on social media. Did I want to do it at the time? Absolutely not. Was I absolutely scared? Yes. But I just posted that first video, and then I said to myself, okay, one post every day, whether that's a story, whether that's a reel, whether that's a photo, whatever it is, one post every day.
I remember when you told me you would do a video every day.
Yeah.
I thought, look, it's ambitious, but you've done that. You've done a video every day for 3.5 months or 4 months, however long you've been here for, including the holidays. Also, Robbo, by the way, is Rob Roper, the mortgage guy who came into session with the team on video content, which was fantastic. How hard is it to produce videos? Because I think a lot of people presume that you need, a professional videographer and great lighting and hair and makeup and whatever else you might need. You're pumping videos out with an iPhone in your hand, in the space of minutes.
Yep.
What have been those biggest learnings in terms of producing content at scale?
Just do it. Take your phone out, take a video, talk to the camera, get used to talking like I am now, just used to talking in front of a camera, in front of a microphone. Get those little mini mics. Like, everyone loves those little mini mics at the moment, and just put yourself out there and give it a shot, and you'll see what works. And I've learned what started to work, and the videos that I sometimes put the least amount of effort into are the ones that will get the most views or the most shares.
That was going to be my question. What's worked well that you didn't think was going to work well?
Literally that. Literally the videos that I will put the least amount of effort into, or I will just sit there and I'm like, oh, I have this idea.
Yep.
And I sit there and I just quickly record it, or I write it down.
Because they're more relatable, like
100%.
real life examples,
100%.
rather than explaining what a first home buyer grants and schemes are, or
100%.
FHSSS, just talking around,
Just talking about my own experiences. Yep. And that's something that I've also taken as an advantage, in my opinion. I've got the experience of being a first-time investor as well as a first-time buyer, like a first-time buyer and investor in one.
Yeah.
So I've seen what it's like to be on the client side, and now my mission is to make it easier as a broker.
You said just do it. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I haven't discussed this with you, but can you just produce a video for me on something? I know it's a big ask, but look,
that's
where
okay.
I got the biggest value was when Robbo was talking about putting a video up, and everyone's sitting there going, "God, this is a bit overwhelming." And then he whipped his phone out, showed you how to do a video in the space of 30 seconds, and I remember thinking, "God, that was easy."
Yeah.
And it came out so good.
Yeah.
And that was for me, was a realization that it doesn't need to be perfect, and if you just give it a crack, you'll be surprised how much traction you're going to get.
100%.
Give it a go. Let me know how you go.
So I usually use TikTok to record.
Yep.
Super easy. You just set it to 10 minutes.
Yep.
But I'm just going to go for it. So this is a take on a video that I've done before.
Yep.
So you find a spot where you've got good lighting. You can fit your face in the frame. It's really not that deep if you don't have great lighting. But yeah, let's just do it. One bank has just announced a 2% deposit home loan. This is for first-time buyers, non-first-time buyers, and investors. And then you can actually stop and start on TikTok.
That was the biggest thing for me because I think people freak out that you've got to nail it first time.
No.
That might be a grandpa saying this. I wasn't aware that you could you pause and then restart the video, so you can just do it in like 1 or 2 second snippets.
Yep.
And it's almost impossible to stuff the video up.
Almost impossible. And then you can edit it all on TikTok. You can add captions on TikTok. You can pretty much do everything. And it takes me about an hour, and I'll pump out maybe 20 videos.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And then I'll quickly edit them, obviously, like on the spot. And then any little tweaks that I might need to do as well, like before I post them or schedule them. But yeah. They have an interest rate below 6% per annum, and you won't be charged the typical lender's mortgage insurance. Again, I've just stopped there. Like, I'm able to continually stop the video, and I can think about the next thing I'm saying.
It's impressive to watch you, by the way.
And
thank
you.
Great.
I appreciate it. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I've grown so much since starting at Flint. Like, I've learned more in the last 4 or 5 months than I have in any other job that I've ever worked. And you learn about creating like a personal brand, and, you know, obviously you're very much aware that I'm still working on the side as well. Like, I'm still hustling on the side, and, you know, I'm getting clients from that, but I'm still able to do that. And you are, able to. Anyway, I'll finish the video. So if you've got $10,000 in the bank, that could equal to a property up the value of $500,000. Grant me finance. Making money makes sense. I also have a tagline.
Yep. Which I love, by the way.
Thank you.
It's very catchy. What is it?
Grant me finance. Making money makes sense. So it's something that I thought about. It's a play on my last name. My name is Sinead Grant. I'm granting you some finance. I'm helping you make money make sense, because, you know, people these days think that there is so much to it. But yes, there is. But the reality of it is that it's actually so simple. And if you have the right person in front of you who can guide you through that entire process, then c'est la vie.
In the space of 90 days, you've really established a brand. And I'm saying this because my wife the other night, I was listening to one of your reels. She said the tagline when you said it, because it's so ingrained in her mind from hearing it on my stories. And it's smart because not that people don't remember the content of your stories, but you know, I was talking to someone the other day around jingles when you were a kid. And like O'Brien Glass or all these ones, maybe that was before your time. You know,
You might be
they're
surprised.
very, very catchy. And it's a great way of building a strong personal brand by also giving great education to your listeners as well.
Yeah, it's a play on both. So, yeah.
Did
you want me to finish?
Finish it
So
and then,
we
and then let everyone hear what it sounds
So
like.
we can just click the tick here, and then you can, I don't know if the camera can see this, but you can quite literally edit the entire video on the same app. It'll take me about 5 minutes to edit this right now. So I can edit it in front of you. You could cut all the little bits at the end, so when the video merges, it seems absolutely seamless. But here's the video before it's been edited. 2% deposit home loan. This is for first-time buyers, non-first-time buyers, and investors. They have an interest rate below 6% per annum, and you won't be charged the typical lender's mortgage insurance. So if you've got $10,000 in the bank, that could equal to a property up the value of $500,000. Grant me finance. Making money makes sense. Literally
I'll tell you
sitting
what,
in
like
front of
if you snip those up a little bit, it'll be absolutely perfect. And that took you, you know, on the spot, you know, a couple of minutes whilst filming a podcast and talking in between, it's not that hard. And I call it the known unknowns. Like, is any good broker, even starting out, you know this shit. You know all the policy changes, you know, all the information, the questions that clients ask. It's just putting them down on a piece of paper and producing these short little videos. They don't need to be more than 20 or 30 seconds. That's it. Smaller bits of information, they retain a lot better than, you know, someone watching a documentary. It's the consistency that's far more important than the quality of the video.
100%. And I think consistency will beat that over time. And I think that it's just got to compound over time as well. And I think that it's so simple. Just get a quick hook. Just get something that someone's going to stop scrolling. Like, you know, we just sit there and we scroll. This is what we do these days. This is the next generation. And I'm trying to help the next generation of homeowners. So I need to stop the scroll.
But the best thing is you've done it already as well. So the biggest issue you would have had was telling people how to buy property without purchasing a property yourself. The fact you've already done that not only shows people it's possible, but then it makes the conversion, the conversation easier for you as well. I'm really excited to see your growth this year because you remind me of myself a little bit when I started in terms of the marketing and branding side, but you've really nailed it on the head a lot faster than I did. You didn't get a lot of leads for the first 8 weeks. I remember we were having a conversation and you said, look, I actually don't care. I'm just going to keep going. And then all of a sudden, I think it was second last week of December, you got 5 or 6 leads in 1 week. Yeah. Talk to me about that I guess that turning point and what you've done differently from when you started to what you're doing now to try and get conversion of leads from the videos, not just producing the content.
Yeah, 100%. So it's like plug and play. It's testing. Does this video work better than this one? And is it educational or is it funny or is it my own experiences? And once I kind of combined all of those 3 together, I saw a change. Yep. And I tested different backgrounds. I tested different lighting. Again, as much as we've mentioned, that's not a big deal. Yep. Sometimes it can be, and sometimes that can be like the littlest thing. And I just posted and I posted and I posted. And then eventually a couple hit great views. I've also got some ads running out there at the moment. So once I sort of learnt how that can help me and how that can generate the business for me, and then convert it, I think people have now realized, okay, this girl actually knows what she's talking about. Yeah. And as much as I'll sit here and I'll say I'm super young, I've been in the industry for 6 months now.
I think that's an advantage though. I don't think it's a disadvantage.
I'm with you. And I like to play to my strengths. And my strength is I'm a woman in an industry where there's not many. And I'm super young in an industry where there's a lot of young brokers who may or may not be wanting to start, but they just don't know how. And I could also be influencing that generation of, you know, the next people that want to come into finance and broking and whatever that might be. And I have my own experience in the property game. So why not?
Exactly. You've got some big goals for this year and next. Talk me through them and how you're going to actually achieve them.
Yeah, 100%. So I actually sat down on my phone. I went to the beach and I wrote down a heap of things that I want to achieve. And then I was like, okay, that's unrealistic.
Both personal and professional?
Both personal and professional. And I have a column for each. And I was like, okay, let's get down to 3 to 5 on each goal. And my number 1 goal this year is to purchase my 3rd investment property. And I've started that ball. I've created a lot of cool new partners and friends and relationships that I've met through becoming a mortgage broker, chatting to buyer's agents, chatting to property coaches, chatting to, you know, real estate agents or solicitors, all these people in the industry that know a lot more than me. And I like to surround myself with people like that. So I've got people in the room that are smarter than me who are going to help me get to where I want to go. So purchasing my 3rd investment property on the trajectory of 5 by 25 is a goal that I want to achieve this year, and I will get it done no matter how that happens. I'm actually working another job at the moment while I'm doing broking. So I've got...
Which is?
A gym manager.
Which is actually smart for two reasons. One is you obviously love the gym and keeping fit. Yeah. But secondly is there's a shitload of clients coming in out of the gym. And actually you were just telling me just then you've got a pre-approval came in today or yesterday for a client that from the gym.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
And I just sit there and, you know, I'm signing you up and Christian, tell me about your fitness goals. And then I'm like, okay, what about your personal goals? Do you want to buy a property? Do you want to look into buying an investment property? And I even just chatted to some ladies who were on a free trial and they saw my little flyer in the gym reception and they were like, hey, that's you. And I was like, yeah, I'm actually a mortgage broker. And it's a way that I can connect with people through their fitness, which is a passion of mine as well, which I have been a gym manager for over the last 2 years. And I can also connect with them for their financial goals and, you know, how they want to build wealth. And is that through property? Can I show them how that can be the case?
The way the business is structured as well in terms of having credit and loan processing compliance and post-settlement and everything else from a loan processing perspective is you can actually spend a lot more time producing content and doing other things to produce business that the typical broker wouldn't have the ability to do.
Which is exactly why I wanted to join Flint. So
one of my best referring partners actually when I started was a PT.
There you go.
And another was a lady who ran a mums and bubs group.
Yeah.
So I think anyone who has a community of loyal supporters or have created a community like a gym or like a mum and bubs group, you tend to get really strong referrals from that because you're talking to PTs are a bit like therapists, right? You're talking to them all day, every day. You hear a lot about what's going on in their lives, and you're going to know if they're looking for a property or if they're thinking about buying a property, and it's a very easy way of getting a lot of leads.
100%.
Have you got settlement goals for this year and for next? I know you've just started, right? And how long is a piece of string, but have you got some targets that you're trying to achieve?
I do, and I have targets for, clients that I want to onboard, and I have targets for the settlements and the post-settlement and the follow-ups and the social media targets. But realistically, it's all come so fast and everything has kind of gone up on a scale, like a trajectory scale, which is exactly what you mentioned would happen. And I am sitting in front of you and I'm saying that I'm finally, I've broken through that cycle and I've gotten through on social media. But if I'm saying a settlement target, like ideally by the end of the year, I'd love to be sitting at, the 6 to 10 million a month. Like that's the goal by the end of the year. And
what I love the most about that is anyone listening will go, that's an outrageous thing to say for someone that's been in broken for 90 days. But I know you're capable of that. That doesn't shock me at all. But I know that a lot of people listening are going to go, what the fuck? Like that's crazy.
And that's fine.
You are one of the hardest working people I know. And also the consistency you have as well. It's exciting because what you've been able to achieve in 12 weeks, which is the hardest part, establishing a brand and that consistency piece. If you fast forward 12 months, like it's going to be not a walk in the park, but you're going to be so established and the organic lead inquiry will be through. Your biggest problem will be processing the amount of business.
Look, that's a great problem to have and I can't wait to have that problem. But, I've already seen the referrals come through. I've got a great real estate friend up in Queensland, which is where I actually purchased my first property. And I've known him for a while and he is just putting the word out here. I sent him some flyers.
Yep.
And he's obviously a real estate agent. So those flyers are sitting at the open homes and people are scanning my little QR code and they're jumping on my Instagram and they're getting my phone number and they're just generally inquiring. And I've got a lot in the pipeline where people are like, okay, I want to talk to you because I want to start. Like, I just want to start. I want to know where to start. I want to know how you started. And I want to know how I can make this work for me, how I can make my money make sense. So
nice little plug there.
Yeah, thanks.
You mentioned before that you went to the beach and wrote down some personal and professional goals. Do you mind telling me what they are?
So yeah, the first one is buying my third investment property. Yep. I also want to continue to build my personal brand. So whether that's through merch, whether that's through speaking at a uni, or that's something on the to-do list, like speaking at a uni or like a major event or something like that, where I can sit and I can have 10 minutes and I've got a presentation and I say, okay, guys, it's actually super simple. This is what you can do with your money. Money sitting in the bank, sure, it's great, but is that going to create you the wealth that you desire? Is that going to create the lifestyle that you...
Not making money makes sense.
You want? It's not, sure. Christian, So that's another goal, like continuing to build my personal brand. And obviously that comes with educating people as well as pushing all that content out there. Yep. I want to have 3,000 followers combined by over Instagram and Facebook. Yep. And hopefully maybe we'll include TikTok. Haven't decided yet. By the end of the year. And I think that's super achievable. I think that once I set up those ads running again with a company, again, another partnership that I created with an ad company, that they know exactly where to plug and play this one and this one and this one, and this is how you'll get the traction here. So that'll be probably like the third goal. Professionally. Personally, I want to go on a holiday. Yep. I need a holiday.
Whereabouts?
I haven't decided yet. I want to go with my partner, but hopefully maybe overseas somewhere, maybe New Zealand, mid-year holiday.
Yep.
And personally, I just want to grow. I just want to keep learning. And I think that I'm in an industry where I can exactly do that. And I think I'm surrounding myself by the people that will help me achieve these goals. So
you write your goals down, you're 40% more inclined to make it happen. So you're doing the right thing. I've had a couple of really strong female brokers, women on the podcast already, people that are close friends that I respect immensely. Being a young female in a male and I don't want to like harp on about this, right? But the reality is that 25% of brokers are female. It's far too small. And Dana, who I had in here the other week, was mentioning the issue is not actually getting female brokers into the industry; it's getting them to stay, which I wasn't aware of. So For yourself, what has the experience been, and has there been some challenges there that you've experienced?
I think every day has been a challenge since I started, and I think I just have a get it done mentality. And if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of you now. And I think some of those challenges are obviously, yes, it is a male dominated industry, and no, we're not going to harp on about it. Like, I'm here and I'm going to make it happen. And I think that it is difficult as well being young and a female. And I think I definitely resonate with Dana and Morgan, especially.
Yep.
Like, coming from so young and starting up in an industry where, like, you know, there's so much to learn. There's so many different processes and procedures and laws, and you got to make sure you're across this. And, you know, when you're posting social media, make sure it's not this. And, you know, there's so many things to be across. And I think that continually learning every day is also a challenge, and making sure that you're on top of everything and on top of your clients and the follow-ups and the processes to get that done. So,
and leading into that, you've stepped into a leadership role within SheInvests in our business. Why is helping educate women so important to you?
I think that women are, like, I think they're statistically, correct me if I'm wrong, they're statistically less likely to purchase property at a younger age than men.
Yes.
So I'm pretty certain that is a statistic there, and I think that that's something that can be changed. And I think there are a lot of strong women out there. There are a lot of women on a great income, and I think that they just don't have the knowledge. So through SheInvests, which is something that I'm super grateful to be taking on, it's an initiative, and it's a way that I can educate women, and it's a way that I can show them through my own experiences and through, you know, scenarios and through anything that I can put in front of someone to say, this is what you can do with your money. This is how you can build wealth through property. This is what people are doing these days. This is where we see it coming. This is where I could harp on about it all day, but I think it just really comes down to education. And I think that starting in like a uni or something like that, where I could go and speak to the next generation, which that quite literally is, or even like a school, like year 11 and 12 students.
I'm sure we can sort both of those out. Is that something you want to do?
100%. Okay. That's something I want to do. Maybe you can come with me.
I'll make that happen. Okay.
Love it.
What have you enjoyed about working in the business? Maybe you didn't think you would enjoy as much.
Yeah, great question. I think that I never would have enjoyed how much freedom I have and how much creativity that I can bring to the table, and how open yourself and Redem are to my ideas or to assisting me with whatever it may be, like a phone call on a Saturday because I needed a hand with a client. And I was like, okay, this is something I've never experienced before, run me through it. And you've always had the time for that. And I think that's something that I've never had in any business I've ever worked in. I've always been in a somewhat of a leadership role, and I've always been very influential over the people that I work with. And I've got a team below me, and I am trying, like, you know, back in the gym days, I had a team member, and she was really bad with her money, and she saw that I was quite good. And I never used to be open about speaking about my experiences, my property purchases, money, and things like that. And I think that's very much something that can be changed as well. Something that I was able to come across and come over. But, you know, she was so bad with money, and she said, Sinead, help me. Like, I'm constantly spending my money. How can I save it? And I said, okay, let's start by breaking down what you make every week. Let's put this aside and see how you go this week and see how that works. I helped her, and I managed to get her out of that sort of consistent cycle of I'm continually spending money. Yep. But I think that the best part about working at Flint is the freedom, it's the systems, it's the processes, it's the ability to create my own personal brand while still working within a company, because I've always wanted to run my own business. Like, that was my dream, one day run your own business. And I feel like I kind of am in a way, but I still have the support. And I still have the back end systems where, you know, do I really want to sit down and type in data? Do I look like the person that wants to type in data? Absolutely not. All I want to do is sit in front of people and talk to people, which is, you know, why I'm so grateful to be on this podcast, and people can hear my story and hear how I can help you make money make sense.
What excites me is seeing the evolution of someone applying themselves. The third property this year is definitely 5 by 25. What is your strategy for purchasing properties? Because, like, obviously there's a broker podcast, but it's just something I found it would be worth mentioning. Like, what are you looking for when you're buying a property? Because obviously being younger, you don't have a lot of the obstacles in terms of needing it to be X yield or the exit being a certain way when you've got the luxury of time.
Yeah. And I think time is the biggest luxury I have. You are so correct in that. My strategy is my first initial goal, which is 5 by 25. That's a number that I came up with when I purchased my first at 18. And, you know, goals change and things change. So that might not be the case, but I'm sitting here in front of you saying 99% of the time it will be. My strategy is to buy and hold. I think that because I have the luxury of time, buying and holding is the best for me. And again, this might not be the same for someone else because everyone's very different and everyone's got different goals and what they want to achieve with property. But ideally, I want it to replace my income. I want to have a lifestyle where, you know, I can go for a stroll on the beach on Wednesday at midday and meet up with one of my friends for a coffee and then, you know, do a couple of phone calls, a couple of broker calls, and I can, in 10 years' time, say that I've been able to sell a property and finance my life that way. The end goal is to replace my income.
Yep.
That's the end goal.
You will in no time at all, I'm sure. A lot of people feel priced out of the market. Just hearing what you were saying then, you seem to have a very positive outlook on buying property and whatnot. What are people not, I guess, understanding about purchasing their first property?
It doesn't have to be where you currently live. It can be anywhere.
And it can be a
Australia.
shithole. It can be cheap. It can be, you know, needs some work. It can
100%. And my first one did.
Yep.
And I still, to this day, have never seen that property. And actually, that's another
Have
goal.
you not?
I still have never.
You've never been there?
I've got 2 and I've still never seen the 2 I have currently. But that's
Isn't that a funny thing? Like, it's not that funny for me to hear that because we have, you know, thousands of clients that are in the same situation. But my parents' generation were taught to, if you can't feel and see it, there's that need to have something close enough that you can touch it.
check the stove works, check the aircon
Yeah,
works.
so it's just an interesting generational shift in the way that you think. Like, you don't find that weird at all.
No. But a lot of people do. And when I tell them that story, they're like, are you crazy? I'm like, no, you have professionals to do that. You have a property manager, you have a real estate agent, you have connections that you make with people that you can trust.
Yep.
So why not buy the $300,000 property that you can afford right now in the situation you're in now?
You don't have to leverage yourself off the eyeballs either. Like, if you can afford $300,000, and there is plenty of properties for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 all across the country. Plenty. It might not be something you're going to see on Instagram and be proud of posting, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to get in the door, and then you produce equity, you cash equity out, buy again, and before you know it, you'll have a property portfolio bigger than anything you ever thought was possible.
100%.
That's hopefully the plan.
That's the plan.
Talk to me about your partner, because I've had all the podcasts to date. What a recurring theme has been is the importance of supportive relationships, both at work and personal. How'd you meet your partner? What does he do? And I guess, how has that relationship evolved with this new job?
Yeah, great question. So we actually met at the gym. Classic.
Yeah.
So I was managing the gym and I had a team of 15 below me, and he just knew everyone. And I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, and what are you doing here? You don't work here. Talk to me about you. We became really good friends, and then it kind of just went from there. He's in sales.
Yep.
So I think we're super like-minded. I'm also in sales.
Yep.
I think I could sell to anyone. And so could he. And I think that we have very similar goals. I think that he is very much money orientated as well. Yep. And not to say that everything is about money, because it's not.
No, of course. But when you're younger, you can definitely look. I was guilty of this. I definitely wasn't thinking about money when I was your age. I was thinking about, partying and having fun and not a care in the world. And it is really important that the person that you're with, if you have those kind of goals and ambitions, matches that. Otherwise, they can get completely derailed unintentionally.
Yeah, 100%. And being a broker is hard, and I've realized that starting, and it's super difficult. Your phone's constantly going. There's an email to reply to. There's a message to reply to, and you're in the zone. You're with your partner, and you're trying to enjoy that moment. But you've got a client waiting on you to get their pre-approval or their conditional approval, and you're that person. So it's the conversation of like, okay, this is what I've chosen to do. This is the career path I've taken. You either support me or you don't, and I'm super lucky that I have the support.
Look, I can resonate with that. I think it is a stressful job, especially when things don't go to plan. And it's delayed gratification, right? Like, you've got not the luxury, you've got your options where you're living at home still. You've got the job at the gym there as well in terms of an income level. But even if you didn't, I have no doubt that you'd make this happen in a short time frame anyway. But it can be stressful. And having a supportive partner that understands how stressful the job is and then doesn't make you feel guilty for picking up a phone call, which is what you got to do. Like when you're starting, like I hear some people saying, I don't take calls after 5. I'm like, mate, you must be $1 billion broker because up until very, very, and look, I still would, right? I take a phone call because on the weekend, you text me on the weekend asking about a credit repair person and I called you straight back. Immediately, it doesn't bother me too much, really.
No, and I'm grateful for that.
That's, I said before how Dana, it was harder than say Morgan, who was before her, is because by the time it ended, it was fine, but like, you can make things out to be a lot more stressful than what they really are. Almost every day I get someone reach out to me who wants to be a broker or is in very start of their career. What advice or lessons could you give to people who are thinking, and not just say just start, like what did you do that didn't work or what did you do that did work? And if you had, say, your sister come into you and said, look, I want to be a broker, what would you tell them to do? To achieve, to get to where you are now faster? What's on that checklist?
First thing is find a great mentor. So in the industry that you're in and the industry we're in you need to have a mentor. And that's for the first 2 years. So you find a great mentor. Second thing is you establish some goals. So my first goal that I established for myself was social media. And that was to be consistent with social media and the attention currency that we're in. If you're not consistent on social media, what is the point? I'm super young. I got to get myself out there. So get yourself out there, build that personal brand and make people aware of what you can do for them. The third thing I would say is it's super hard. Like you're starting up with no client base. You're starting up with no income.
Yep.
You're starting up with little to no referral partners or little to no connections, depending on obviously who you are as a person. So get out there, go and talk to people. I spent a day and I printed off a bunch of flyers and I have a little digital business card on my phone and I just walked into real estate agent offices. And I said, hey, I'm Sinead. I'm a mortgage broker. Nice to meet you. Where's the owner or where's the manager? Or I need to talk to them. Get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Go and talk to people.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say no and you're in the same position you are right now. Yeah.
What's to lose?
Got everything to gain.
Quite literally nothing to lose. So look, it's really hard and I think you need to be mentally aware that it's really hard. Was it hard for me? 100%. And were there times where I was like, is this really what I want to do? And is this the career that I want to take? And is this the stress that I want to put on myself? Yeah, I was like, is this the right move for me? But once you build and you get across that and you get over that and you walk through that door and you realize the opportunity that you have to whether it's to educate, to make the money that you make as a mortgage broker or, help people get into their first homes and the feeling that you get doing that. I think once you have that mindset of, okay, this is what I can achieve, you can do it.
There's not many jobs where you get to genuinely help people, but also create a life of freedom for yourself. And a lot of people use that buzzword freedom. As long as you've got good processes and support, whether it's in your own business or someone else's business, there's not many jobs that can let you have that work-life balance. And people talk about work-life balance, it's normally just what you prioritize. But like I feel like I genuinely have the work-life balance that I want. It might be different to other people, but as you said, to be able to go to New Zealand or go overseas for a couple of weeks in the middle of the year and still have your proposals pumped out and your application is lodged and settlement's still happening and everything's compliant. It's not as common as you would think. When I went on my first holiday with Nicolina, I remember being in Var in Croatia and taking a call from an assessor at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. It was an absolute disaster. I didn't really understand how hard that was going to be being away. And there's many brokers who have never been on a holiday, like a proper one, or have never been able to shut off because the business comes to a standstill. And if you don't have good support behind you, you don't really have a business. You're building a loan book, which is different. So I'm excited to see what happens over the next 12 to 24 months with you in terms of growing your brand and your business. What referring partners, because look, being younger, focus on social media, your angle for getting business is different and deliberate, but also there are traditional ways of getting business like referring partners. How have you found getting referral partners and who have you got at the moment that I guess is sending your business on a consistent basis?
Found it very difficult. I'll be super honest. Initially super hard to break that ice and to, okay, there's this young broker on the phone. What does she want kind of thing? Or, even in the real estate companies, they've got their own in-house broker. And I'm like, okay, cool. But are they going to get back to you within 24 to 48 hours? Are they going to pick up the phone call within an hour? Are they going to text you back when you need to be texted back? And I just said, just give me a shot. So the partners I've got at the moment, I've got a really great buyer's agent, property coach. He was actually referred to me from a real estate agent. I think I initially started with real estate agents. I think that was where I felt most comfortable.
Yep.
Speaking to a lot myself in the property market myself. And then we've stemmed to buyer's agents, and then we've then stemmed to accountants. And I've reached out to, the people that I use even in my own situation, my solicitor in Queensland. But, you're able to create a network around you of people who are there to help. There's so many moving parts to purchasing a property, and there's so many different professionals. And I think that the biggest takeaway I've had is just building that relationship. So I'll go back to my buyer's agent friend, and if you're listening, I think he will be listening to this podcast, but when he listens to this, he's an absolute legend. We get along so well. We have the same outlook on what we want to achieve with property and help our clients achieve with property. And, I send him referral there, he sends me a referral there, and it kind of just works. And
referrals have to be mutually beneficial.
100%.
So I think a lot of people will go to a meeting, go grab a coffee, and then their immediate next step is asking for a lead. Yeah. And it's just, if you're not adding value, whether that's with content or reciprocal business, then how could you possibly think someone's just going to all of a sudden send you? While I was smirking before when you said the real estate referring, it reminds me of, I won't say who, but when they started, they used to go to open homes in the location, a different location, and go to 5 or 6 in one morning. And then when the agent emailed them or called them, then they try and convert the agent to a B2B partner. It was actually how they got partners. And I just thought it was the funniest thing. I think referring partners have to be seen as an added bonus.
Yeah.
They're fantastic if you've got them, but if you are reliant on them, it's not good. And I think when I talk to brokers now, how are they? Oh, I'm not too busy, or, it's a bit of a lull, or that's normally a broker who hasn't established themselves from a branding, marketing position and PR perspective. And I think any modern broker needs to have a really stringent PR, marketing and branding strategy and understand how they're positioning themselves and being a niche expert and not being a generalist. And that's exactly what you've done. You mentioned before paid ads. I've done, a bit of boosting and whatnot here and there with this podcast and some other things. It's really interesting to understand, how much you're spending, how many eyeballs you can get in front of, what that click through looks like, what a cost per click is, and educating yourself on the other side of social media. Paid ads work if you know what you're doing. They do. Yeah. The results you can get on TikTok is different to YouTube, is different to Facebook and Instagram and everything else. So where are you doing paid ads, and what are you, what kind of content are you pushing out, and what have you seen works and what hasn't?
My main focus is Instagram, really. Yep. That's where my target market is. And as you mentioned, that's where my niche is. And that's where I'm seeing the best traction. So why not focus on it? So Meta. So Facebook, Instagram, they're both connected. All my accounts are connected. I am pushing ads through predominantly Instagram, but I'm seeing it work in terms of depending on what video I've pushed out. So whether it is a client story where someone purchased a property for $400,000 and it's their first purchase, and that video, we got up to 10,000 likes and comments and shares, whatever it might be, within 24 hours of having that ad up. And you talked about
isn't it crazy? I sent one of the other brokers a message because they got 5,000 views on a reel. He said, "Oh, that's not a lot." So I sent him a photo of 5,000 people in a stadium. Yeah. I said, "That's how many people have seen your reel." If you do one of those every couple of days, you couldn't stand on the street and hand out 5,000 business cards if you did it full time for a week.
No, and we have this tool where we have the opportunity to put so much information in front of so many eyes. Why not use it? Why not use it to your advantage?
Especially if your generation or younger generations, you're spending 2/3 of your day on your phone. It couldn't have a better resource for getting in front of people than leveraging social media to build your brand presence.
Yeah. I'm sitting there, I'm talking to my sisters and I'm telling them, start a marketing company, start putting stuff on social media. They're very much driven like I am, and they're sitting there and they're watching what I'm achieving and creating and putting out there, and they're helping me with the videos. Or initially, I had a little tripod before I realized I could just put my phone in my hand. Yeah. But we have the opportunity to put, like I said, we've got so many eyeballs that you can reach, and majority of it's free unless you want to put some money behind it. So
storytelling works.
Yeah,
I think even just with our recent moving house and doing a lot of content around the Paddington house, millions of impressions. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people inboxing me about stuff, and it's really interesting to see how people engage with a journey if you take them on it.
Yeah.
And that whole building in public shift in social media and the transparency and the authenticity. And when I started doing this 10 years ago, was like, promote your positive stuff. Never say anything negative. But now it's more, look, be honest. A business is hard. Often it's not winning.
Often it isn't, and that's kind of what people like looking at the most.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're engaging with.
Yep.
They're engaging with, the behind the scenes, or like you're behind the scenes of your moving, and they're like, okay, well, you should be doing this, and they're like, oh God, I did that wrong, kind of thing. Like,
also just explaining to people the journey, because it's like, if we spend an hour together. Hopefully, you learn some stuff. But that's an opportunity to tap into someone who has a significantly more amount of knowledge than you. And as you said at the start, surrounding yourself with people that are smarter or that have more experience. It's what I've done the last couple of years and seen a huge increase in not only my own mindset, but the results off the back of that. Fitness obviously is a very important part of your life. Do you think that that's helped you in terms of your consistency with posting, your consistency with work? Because I actually use this metaphor often, is like you're going to get a six pack going to the gym once a month. Like you've got to do it religiously every day, and all of a sudden it becomes part of your day, not an additional awkward thing outside of that.
Yeah. And I think that's what social media started out to be. I'm like, oh my God, this is like now part of my day-to-day life. Like I need to make sure that I'm doing this every day. And I think that 100% the fitness industry and the discipline that you have to have behind that is also something that's definitely helped me become a broker and enter this industry. And even with my money habits, it's just discipline.
Yeah.
And I think it's just setting that goal, understanding how you're going to achieve that goal, putting the work to get to that goal, and the discipline to do it every day. And I think if you can hit all four of those, you've literally got nothing to lose. How are you not going to achieve it?
Yeah.
So I think definitely the gym industry and being around those people who are there every day, and PTs and members that you see every day, and their name and their whole life story, because they will come and just sit with you and tell you, you know what I mean? And then again, that's now how I'm getting clients from the gym.
Yeah.
So
we're out of time because it's so easy to talk to you. But I wanted to say that I'm genuinely proud of how hard you work and how you apply yourself. It's been great to watch. And I'm really excited, both Rita and I are really excited to see where you end up over the next 2 years. I have no doubt you'll be one of the best brokers in the country within 24 months. But what excites me more is seeing that journey, because you've come from, you started at 0 and you're going to be at 100 very, very, very quickly. And yes, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch. Can you just do me one favor and give your world famous sign off to end the podcast?
Absolutely can. Grant Me Finance. Making money makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.